is your radio salvation. Go, 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 go.
Discus lariat.
The huge suplex.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Thoughts Count Anywhere, live from the Go Live Vegas studios. I didn't hear anything in my headset, but that's okay. So I hope I'm talking. Hope you all can hear me out there. I am Aaron Phillips, sitting alongside the folks here at the desk. To my right, Mr. Matt Mullen. All the way across to the end is Johnny Rock. And hopefully joining us here on video momentarily, there he is. The face and voice of reason, Mr. Scott Hosey. How are you, partner?
Can you hear me okay, guys, out there in radio podcast land?
We got nothing in our...
Turn the headsets up. Hold on. Oh, hello.
Hey!
There we are. Okay, we had to repower the headsets up, so we just didn't hear anything after. By the way, I want to let everybody know, about 20 minutes before we went on the air, we had a circuit blow here in the studio, so we've been busy resetting everything. And just until now, we didn't realize we had any headsets. So, Scott, how are you, partner?
Doing fine. How about you guys this week?
We're doing okay. By the way, I was remiss in introducing our bell keeper here, Mr. Jason Piper's here. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Let him know you're here. Give him there you go. The man is here. Of course, Aaron is on the board. So we want to welcome everybody to our live pre-WrestleMania 36 edition here of Thoughts Count Anywhere. We want to thank you for joining us. As always, please reshare our feed direct to your wall so your friends and family can join in and watch us. Our studio line is 702-660-7666 because we want to hear your predictions. Short of any spoilers.
Yes, no spoilers, please. I know there are leaks.
They're starting, but please, we just want to hear predictions. Of course, we'll talk about WrestleMania, some other news items along the way with some of our rumors and, of course, some of our indie stuff. Gentlemen, Scott, how's your week been since we last saw you last week? I know you're hunkered down there at the Housey household.
That is true. Doing work from home, and recommended that a lot of us do that if they can. If you have to go out, be safe. Don't be like some of these drivers today. Oh my God, I had to go out for a few minutes, and just because there's open lanes doesn't mean it's a test track, guys. Be safe.
Absolutely.
I've seen so many people just randomly run red lights this week.
Right? Isn't that crazy? God forbid one person's going to get T-boned and we're all in trouble. Hey, while we have you...
Well, I did hear the Metro has suspended misdemeanors.
Oh,
so,
all right.
I mean,
you're lucky, Johnny.
I know. I'm immune. I am above the law for once.
He has a get out of jail free card.
I do.
Scott, while we have you, let's not forget, let's talk about your website for Power Play Sports Collectibles, where people can still find some good stuff.
Absolutely. PowerPlaySportsCards.com is where you can go. So PowerPlaySportsCards.com. Or you can give the office a call, 702-482-7529. And, look us up. If you're looking for that special gift for that loved one or birthday person, coworker, we still have all the stuff online, and we will mail it. We won't do hand delivery like Uber or anything of that nature, but we will mail it. We'll mail all across the country and across the world if we need be.
Right on. So make sure you get out there and get your memorabilia. I don't know how much memorabilia will be worth after WrestleMania 36, however. But that would be a great topic that we can also pick up on at another time, Scott, to talk about how the lack of what's happening with WrestleMania 36 and the impact that may or may not have on the collectibles market for the wrestling industry.
Sure, I'll get a cheap pop in there. Well, as soon as this incident, whatever you want to call it's over. Power Play Sports Cards podcast will be available every Saturday morning at 8:00. And just like a lot of podcasts, they're taking some hiatus, and we'll see what happens. But just everybody be safe.
Absolutely. By the way, I want to give a shout out in the chat room to our good friend Thomas Burnett, who wants to know if, Scott, you are in parts unknown. No, we've already cleared that. Well, he's in his house, which is in parts unknown. Of course, maybe his wife wishes he himself was in parts unknown, but that's another story for another day. Justin, his prediction says that Mania is going to be absolutely horrid. And Justin also chimes in and says that it's been a rather long week for him as well. So I want to remind everybody, 702-660-7666. Guys, 60 seconds or so. How's been your week since we were last here? Matt?
I've been pretty good. I still work downtown, keeping everybody...
All two of them down there?
Keeping all, the building safe, basically, because nobody's around.
Right.
Everything's fenced off, and I started delivering for Grubhub.
Oh, there you go.
Which is... I thought it was going to be kind of slow. It's kind of hectic running around, but it's extra good money, and people still want food, so...
There you go.
Keeping myself busy while I can.
On. Johnny?
I haven't left the house in a week.
Since last week you were
I
on
remoted
remote.
in, but no, I did have to go do some shopping on Thursday. And
Right on.
I also went on a job interview on Thursday, but I have not left the house since Thursday. So.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the same thing, other than working out a little bit outside my house, going to a doctor's appointment or to Albertsons. This is my only get out for the week.
I'm working on my hermit beard. This is no shave pandemic for me.
Yeah, that's what I started doing. I've shaved my head because I can't stand it when it comes in on my head. But unfortunately, back in yesteryear, it used to come in nice and red and brown, and then it got speckled with gray. Now it's all gray.
Well, my barbershop was deemed non-essential, so I can't even go in for my trim.
There you
can't
go.
even go for a trim.
Absolutely. All right. What do you say we get this show started? Yeah. Thomas, it's been crazy for you in the grocery business. God can only imagine. All right.
Tell them to hire me. I've applied at every store in town.
So is my daughter for that. My daughter, who's used to being on the road for her musicals, she's been home with us now about 10 days, and she is just itching to get out like we all are, and she's not used to sitting around doing nothing.
I mean, well, we are a town full of bartenders and DJs and band members.
Service,
It's service industry, and God, I think of all the cities in America, we've probably been hit the hardest.
Probably. All right, let's get started, though, with I Hear... Wait till I finish the title. I Hear Voices. Thank you. All right, let's get started.
Strike one.
Well, let's get... Rumor has it that Paul Heyman has special, and we'll put that word in quotes, special permission to do things on Raw that won't happen on SmackDown, trying to bring more reality into storylines. Matt, why don't you kick us off with that one?
It seems like they're trying to break down the wall of kayfabe on Raw using Undertaker's real name and AJ's real name, calling his wife out, and seems like they want to put more reality into their storylines
it's
where
not the first
SmackDown
time,
isn't.
It's not the first time they've called AJ's wife out, though. Remember Samoa
Joe? Yeah, they did that with Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe was knocking on their door.
Right.
Well, I mean, calling AJ by his real name, Alan Jones.
Alan Jones, yeah. That's what the AJ stands for.
Exactly. Scott, what do you think about this? It seems to me that what's happening here is maybe a small turn back into a little bit of an attitude era kind of scripting. What do you think?
Well, they got to do something, and realistically, they should have went on hiatus 3 weeks ago. They really should not be broadcasting. The shows are absolutely brutal, and they're trying everything they can. They're pulling out all the stops.
Absolutely, they're trying to make it TV worth watching, but of course we know when you have no audience in there, it's pretty difficult to. I'm okay with it because what I saw, the clip from Monday night with the Taker's promo, it seems to me we're going to get some reincarnation of the American Badass, in my opinion, which may not be a bad thing because I think if he's using, AJ's using his real name with Mark and everything else, why not see Mark Calloway out there and maybe morph into The Undertaker a little bit as the match goes on.
Can he ride a Harley to the ring?
Probably not. They'll probably give him a Schwinn. That's probably about all they can put in the studio.
You can put a Harley into Full Sail. Come on.
They
got
to start 2 blocks away. You got to give them some kind of WrestleMania entrance.
Exactly.
That ramp's only 30 feet.
Absolutely.
That means The Undertaker's entrance won't take 12 minutes.
Exactly.
How are they going to kill the other 7 hours of WrestleMania?
This might be a good thing for WrestleMania because it's been criticized for going too long, and now you divide it up between 2 nights. But it's going to be a short WrestleMania anyway.
Well,
it's 4 hours each night.
I was going to say it starts 4 p.m. Pacific both Saturday and Sunday. That's not counting pre-show, I guess, or maybe that is the first hour of pre-show. I have not seen any separation, nor have I been able to find what matches they're doing on Saturday versus Sunday, except for one. And you said that was the Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens,
Kevin
right?
Owens, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That they mentioned that on Saturday. You okay over there, Scott?
Yep.
Got that Rona?
I just want.
Yes, I do.
Just
I
want
tried
to
to
make.
mute the mic, but obviously it didn't take as well.
That's okay. Just unplug the mic next time. That's all right. No worries. No, that's just want to make sure you're okay. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. Listen, just out of sheer morbid curiosity, I'm going to be watching anyway out of habit because I know we're going to talk about it next week and probably put some stuff on our Facebook page. But for nothing else, the uniqueness of what this WrestleMania is going to be like because of the situation will make it hopefully one for the record books and one
This
for a
is
lifetime.
Definitely going to be a WrestleMania that everyone will remember.
I hope Vince and Triple H went to the production team and was like, here's your challenge, make this good. You have a week.
Whoa, 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 whoa. You really think Kevin Dunn, of all people, is up to that task? I don't. I don't have a lot of faith in that man at all. This is the man who cut away from Roderick Strong on his entrance at Survivor Series.
Go ahead, Scott.
If this is what we're seeing with Raw and SmackDown with the empty house, unfortunately, this upcoming WrestleMania is going to be like a monkey humping a football or something of that nature. And I clean that up just for our listeners. It's just going to be brutal. I mean, if you look at all the botched spots that they have had, look what happened this past week on SmackDown. He's lucky he doesn't have a broken back. Totally botched spot.
That was Raw. You talking about Roderick?
Montez Ford.
That was Raw.
Montez Ford. And if I can't see if I see one more time them slapping their thigh for effect, the production crew absolutely sucks. And after this is over, maybe they'll look back and go, yeah, we should have done like everybody else and paused.
Yeah.
I think Impact Wrestling should be like capitalizing on this because they've taped so far in advance.
They're
the only wrestling with live audience.
Very true.
So, I will give one thing. These empty arena shows are terrible. But
The promos are on point.
the promos are on point, especially like some of these guys, like the old hands, like Edge and Randy Orton, Undertaker, AJ. These guys are carrying the show for me right now. The matches, I find myself fast forwarding through them. But this is where I feel like AEW finally has the true edge. And I think Scott might actually agree with me for once because
No.
AEW.
That won't happen. Yeah,
I know. Let me. Don't ding me. Don't ding me. Let me at least continue with this point. Come on. I'm still going.
Go ahead. Go finish
Thank
your
you.
thought.
So AEW has always been about match quality over storytelling.
Right.
And even the empty arena shows for Dynamite have been very entertaining, and they're even finding things to do. Like when you got MJF and Sean Spears gambling and catcalling like as the audience, they're putting their talent in the stands.
Right.
And the talent is getting themselves over in weird and creative ways.
Well, then they're still staying part of the focal point. They're still staying visual as well.
Yeah, so like I commend AEW for that, and I think WWE needs to actually follow their lead on that. Don't just have an empty arena. Have talent out there doing talent things.
Right on.
You know?
Just a couple of comments I want to share in the chat room. Ryan Smith says the best way to use someone's spouse is to pull a Rick Rude or Velveteen and have the spouse's spray painted on somebody else's tights.
Yes.
Thomas reminded us, and thank you, Thomas, for doing so, that the match between Taker and AJ is not even going to be at the PC. It's a Boneyard match. So God only knows where they're taking care of that one. Justin wants to see Mark Calloway come out from beginning to end. No Taker, no American Badass. Ryan also, though, does agree that all the promos this week on Raw were excellent. And Justin says only empty arena wrestling worth it is AEW, probably for the reasons that you talked about. Next topic. All right. Undertaker is getting heat for his Raw promo, stating AJ joined after Rock, Stone Cold, HBK, Mick Foley, Edge left, or weren't at the top of their game, which to some they thought he has taking a shot at the current roster. Gentlemen?
I think he was his name because, like, back then when, like, Rock and Stone Cold era, that was, like, the roster of the rosters. Like
That was the creme de la creme.
That was the
biggest-
golden age.
That was the best roster they've ever had, and he was just basically stating because that's when he was in his prime. That's when everybody else was in his prime. Mm-hmm. So that's like everybody was on like the top of their game, and that's how they took over WCW and everything else. And I don't think it was a shot at the current roster. It was just stating that he came in
During
after
that
all the
time.
big dogs were already gone.
Right.
I honestly think it was more of a shot at current creative than the roster because you got to think when the Undertaker was the Undertaker. I mean, we'll go back to the Attitude Era. the Attitude Era had a lot of hits and a lot of misses. But I think what the one major difference when it came from a creative standpoint is that people were allowed to get themselves over in those days. So even your lowest of the low card jobber guys like Al Snow were still finding ways to get themselves over with the fans. And I think Taker was more taking a shot at that than he was about the current roster. I think he was taking a shot at the current product and not the talent involved.
I think to the general consensus of fan, I don't know if they would go that reach when you just hear the names. To me, I just thought it as a comparison, apples to oranges. Hear that these guys were some of what you said, that the Taker was wrestling these guys when they're all at their peak. And now all of a sudden AJ comes in thinking he's part of that peak when he's not. But that's just my take on it. Scott, what was your reaction to Taker's promo?
This is going to be shocking. I kind of agree with Johnny.
No.
April Fools!
Exactly. Just the product, the production. I think everything in the last couple months has absolutely been horrid. And I see the chat room now. AEW has not been any better, to be honest with you. They've had to retape and retape. The only reason they're making things better is Tony Khan has a lot of money to throw at it, and Vince ran out of money because of the whole XFL. But, realistically, the talent isn't what it was. You don't have guys putting in their time and, fine-tuning their, critique. Like I said, how many times can I watch somebody slap their thigh to make an effect? They got to hide things better. They got to do a better job. Go back to the basics.
Well, at least AEW is taking the time to retape and retape. I mean, if I were WWE, I definitely would have retaped that Montez Ford match.
They did, and they left it.
They left it?
Well,
Nothing was better than a tag team women's match, and you see, because I have it live on DirecTV, you see like Sasha and Alexa talking, and then someone's like, "Hey, we're on," and then they start wrestling.
Right?
That's the best botch of all of it.
Yeah, really, the commercial break. Once again, I want to remind everybody, 702-660-7666 is our studio line, 702-660-7666. Of course, not only are you watching us here through Facebook, but you can watch us through our YouTube channel, Go Live Periscope, Go Live Twitter, Go Live mobile app for your downloadable stuff, for your audio, or are we on our Twitter account for Thoughts
Twitter, Instagram.
Oh, so we're using our Twitter account for Thoughts. So we're simulcast on 5 different networks, whatever. But become part of the show, man. We want to hear from you right now. We thank you, those who are in the chat room. But join the show, be part of it. Give us a call and give us your predictions, which we're going to get to here momentarily, on your WrestleMania matches. Not whether the show is going to stink or not, but just your predictions on the matches on the card. All right, next topic. Ronda Rousey making a return soon. That's been rumored now for about 6 months also. But I would wait until everything gets back to normal. I would not waste a returning Rousey while there's no crowd, in my opinion.
In hindsight, I'm shocked she didn't re-debut at the Rumble, because that's an instant WrestleMania storyline right there.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But, now that hindsight being 2020, I'm glad they didn't, because you're right. She'd be wasted in this atmosphere right now.
I'm pretty sure she'll come back once everything gets back to normal, because she comes back to no crowd. That's just a gigantic waste.
Absolutely.
You think we're finally going to get Becky versus Ronda one-on-one at SummerSlam?
I hope so.
That's what I want.
I want that too.
Assuming things are going to somewhat be back to normal at that point. Scott, what's your take on Rousey?
I agree with the guys. Why waste the talent? Right now, they need to take a hiatus. It's so horrible. It's not worth watching or risking any talent out there.
It's funny, AEW, when Brody Lee debuted a couple of weeks ago, they purposely wanted him to debut in Rochester, where he's from.
Yeah.
And Tony Khan went to him and actually asked him if he still wanted to do it or wait. And he said, no, let's go ahead. Let's move forward. We'll make it happen this way. To me, I give Tony Khan credit for going to Brody and asking his opinion as to whether he wanted to still move forward with it. But I think for Rousey, I think there's no choice but to wait until crowds can get back in front of the matches, create that energy and get that pop. Because I think when it comes back, when everything gets back to normal and these guys and gals are performing in front of live audiences, we as a collective audience need to hear the pop. We need to hear that people are still excited, not only about wrestling in general, but just life in general, that they're out there still excited about everything that's going on. And I think that pop sound when somebody like Rousey is going to walk through the curtain, or whoever it's going to be, we need to hear that to know that everybody for that time is at least back in the right frame of mind, in my opinion.
I think
So-
actually once sports and live entertainment, I think it's going to be a boom period. I think we're going to see some record-setting crowds
I believe
in
so.
regular season games. I think we're going to see some record-setting crowds in attendance at non-pay-per-view events for wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Like just because people are sick of being stuck in their house.
Absolutely. Couldn't disagree with that at all. Next topic. Let's move into WWE. First and foremost, let's wish the Viper a happy 40th birthday. 40. The Viper's 40 years old. If we had a happy birthday song, I would say we play it, and I don't want us to sing because I know we're not going to do
I
it.
hear voices in my head.
There you go.
They talk to me.
I'll tell you what.
Ring the bell.
Yes, I was going to say, ring the bell. All right, thank you.
I'll give him an RKO. Don't
There
worry.
you go. You know
You
what?
can't tell me about it because then it's not out of nowhere. It's out of somewhere.
Ryan
True.
suggests in the chat room, have Ronda interrupt a Becky promo and set up the match at SummerSlam.
Or
Not a
have her
bad-
interrupt the Baszler match. at
No.
WrestleMania. Or post-match run-in.
Rousey's got to
She
stay
couldn't
off
get
of
lost
this.
in the crowd, that's for sure.
That's. I think any attempt to bring Ronda back in this empty arena situation is a waste of opportunity. But
I can't believe when Becky was doing her promo, she interrupted her own promo to do a 45-minute replay of her main event match.
well, I guess when
then
you're
to get attacked.
right there, you go. All right, let's
Well,
talk
she stood
about.
in the ring the whole time. Just
All right,
waiting.
let's talk. Let's move on. Let's talk about WrestleMania. Let's talk about the preview. Let's talk about the matches. This is really. I just want to focus on thoughts and input on our predictions. No spoilers, please. Anybody out there, if you're going to call in, we want to hear your predictions.
I have actually officially quarantined myself from the dirt sheets this week.
All
because
right,
I didn't even want to risk
that's a good
spoilers.
idea. Please avoid putting them in the chat room. We don't want any spoilers there, and please avoid putting them on our Facebook page. So this is strictly preview and making predictions on our part. All right, let's go around the horn. Let's start with Scott. Let's talk about Brock Lesnar and Drew McIntyre. Scott.
I'd love to see McIntyre grab the belt. He's the future he's the new John Cena. You know, he's going over as a babyface. Lesnar, everybody hates. No one wants to see him on TV. He's, for some reason, Vince is, pet. Anyway, I'd love to see McIntyre go over in that match.
Okay, Johnny.
I don't know if I agree with the whole new John Cena thing, but he's definitely getting himself over as a babyface. I personally like him better as a heel, but I don't know. I'm mixed on this because I'm actually, this is one of the matches on the card I'm actually really excited to see. But I think when Drew actually wins, I want the crowd to be there. I want to hear that pop. That's a pop. When you slay the beast, if you slay the beast and nobody's there, is the beast really slayed at all?
The tree does fall still if nobody hears it.
But I mean, is it?
He'll still be wearing the belt around his waist if he wins. I mean, there'll be evidence that'll show that he won. I agree with what you're saying about the pop and reaction because he got a hell of a pop at Royal Rumble when he won, and I agree with that. But again, conditions what they are. I think if anybody has an opportunity to be a champion, I think you'll take it no matter what the situation is.
Yeah.
Just ask the 9,000 wins R-Truth has as 24/7 champion.
Have they retired that belt? I haven't
Jeez.
seen hide nor hair of it.
So you're predicting who to win?
I'm predicting Drew to win, but I don't think he should, just simply because
I
of the
didn't
lack of
ask
crowd.
that. I didn't ask should he, would he.
Drew.
Who's your winner?
Drew.
Okay, Matt.
I kind of agree with Johnny. I think of the.
All right, wait a minute. Can we start the show from the top?
This is
There's-
April Fool's Day.
There
Everybody's
is
agreeing with me.
way
I
too
think
much
they're gonna
agreeing with
wait
Johnny.
So if they're really going to make Drew McIntyre the guy, wouldn't you want to do it in front of 80,000 people?
Yeah, but you don't know when you're going to have the next WrestleMania?
True.
I mean, SummerSlam doesn't get 80,000 people. That's
They
my
haven't
only
booked the
regret.
venue yet. They should book like an
Well,
actual
like I said-
stadium for SummerSlam.
Like I said 2 weeks ago, if they can't do Mania the way they want to do Mania, they should double down on SummerSlam and make SummerSlam this year's Mania. Do a stadium show.
do SummerSlam in Tampa Bay.
Well, no,
Give
no.
them what they wanted.
It's already booked for the city of Boston. I think it's unfair to Boston if you take
Boston
them away.
sucks. I don't care
But
who's listening
to
this.
I'm just saying,
Book it for Tampa
move
Bay.
it from TD Garden to Gillette Stadium.
All right, who's your take to win?
Drew McIntyre.
All right, now, and I'm with that as well, McIntyre. Next match? Ryan, I want to give Ryan Credo here, who's in the chat room. Rousey is a star, needs to be in front of a crowd. Then he also says the match that he's most interested in is Edge and Orton. So let's jump to that match because I think there's a lot of intrigue with this match, Scott. You know, Edge, Orton, what's gone on? We know what happened after SummerSlam, the concertos, Beth Phoenix, yada, yada, yada. Again, this is a match that should be in front of 80,000 people because of the history and the way this is being built, but it's not. What do you see the outcome for this match, Scott?
I think this is a one-time shot for Edge. I think you're going to have Randy get his birthday present and go over and win this. Edge should not be in the ring. He's looked horrible in his return. Yes, everybody got pumped when he came in for Royal Rumble, but he hasn't shown me anything in the ring. He's way past his prime. It's like watching Goldberg, or I mean, it just you're a shell of what you used to be. Go off right into the sunset and have fun.
He hasn't really had a chance to show what he's been
That's
able
what I
to
was.
do,
That's what I was
though.
going to say. Other than wrestling in the Rumble, he's been concertoed. He hasn't really
Besides
done
5
anything else.
spears
But
and
if
knowing
you
how to
look
take a
at-
chair shot.
And he sold those chair shots like a champion.
I did take out MVP. I will say that. Scott?
Well, if you look at the work he did, in the ring, other than his entrance in Royal Rumble, it sucked. If you watched him in the corners and stuff like that, it just did not come off very well.
Okay. Fair point. Okay,
That
so
might have just been bad editing because Kevin Dunn did cut away when he speared like half the
yeah,
crowd.
especially Ziggler when he first came in, right? All right, so you got Orton. Is that right, Scott?
Correct.
All right, Matt. Orton Edge.
Edge is winning that one for sure.
Okay. Now, if that's the case, what does it do for Orton post WrestleMania? What can
Orton's
they
such a big name, like a loss at WrestleMania doesn't really.
even on the big stage with going against Edge? Given what
Yeah.
Scott just said about Edge's, I'm just playing devil's
He's a
advocate. with you.
legend. He doesn't.
Okay.
He doesn't really need to prove anything anymore. He's Randy Orton.
Okay. He's Randy frickin' Orton.
And for the same logic, I'm actually going to agree with Scott.
No, all right. I'm sorry.
I pick Orton. I pick Orton because Edge doesn't need it. He doesn't need the win, and I think it could develop this feud even further. And this feud has actually been. At first, I was not on board with it. I'm like, oh my god, how many times have we seen Orton versus Edge? I'd rather see Edge versus Styles or Edge versus Andrade. Like anybody knew, like that he could put on a good match with, but. The way they've been building this and the promos that have been going back and forth, this has turned into something that I want to see more of. So I don't want this to be the final chapter.
Should it be the main event? A main event on one of the two nights?
In light of Roman dropping out of the Universal Championship, yes.
Okay.
I would say this should be the main event. Either this should be the main event of night one, or one of the women's matches should be the main event of night one.
Okay. Now, again, you say, we don't know what matches are going to appear on what day, but we're just kind of speculating what we would like to see on that.
But I would have Drew versus Brock as one of the two main events.
That's got to be the
Hands
main
down.
event for Sunday.
Yeah, hands down.
Which one?
Brock and Drew.
Oh, Brock. Yeah, Brock and Drew for sure. All right. Thomas comments that, yes, SummerSlam is scheduled for the Garden. Ryan says SummerSlam at Fenway Park. However, based on baseball scheduling and if they have to look at the MLB schedule at that time to see if Fenway Park, A, would be available, and B, if Fenway Park would be up to doing it. And Thomas predicts he's picking Edge, as will I. Next
Keep
match.
suspending the Red Sox. Nobody cares.
Okay. I'm going to leave the Goldberg match for last or a little later on because, again, officially, we don't know who Goldberg's opponent is since Roman pulled himself out because of, and rightfully so, by the way, with his immune system being compromised because of his leukemia issue. Good for him for making that choice, and good for WWE for backing him up in letting him take that time off because of that.
I like his video on Instagram where he was like, all of you guys didn't want me on WrestleMania for years and years.
Right.
That's all I hear, and now I'm not on it. Now everybody's crying.
Because now he's finally over.
Right. 702-660-7666. Folks, I want to hear from you. Give us a call. Who are your predictions? It's great we're getting a couple in the chat room, but give us a call. 702-660-7666. And better yet, don't agree with Johnny's picks. Go opposite Johnny if you have to.
Wow, I'm actually making some good, educated,
We are
informed
done
decisions.
agreeing. We've agreed with Johnny more times tonight than I want to for the rest of the year. Okay?
Hey, a blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then.
That's true.
It's
All
April
right.
Fool's Day. Everybody gets one.
Go. All right. Next match. Becky Lynch, Shayna Baszler. Let's talk about that for a few minutes. Scott, kick us off.
Baszler takes it hands down. We've all heard that you've got Becky and her wonderful Messiah boyfriend taking some time off. So obviously, if they're going to take time off, Baszler wins.
I think
Johnny.
Aside from all that, I think Baszler wins just because I think Becky's had the belt for a full year. I think it's time to drop the title.
Baszler wins for sure.
Nothing like choking on water.
We need to stay 6 feet.
Is it that Rona? You got that
no,
Rona?
it's not. No, it's not.
Keep your social
6
distance.
feet.
Water. It's the water. Longest reign. What did you say, Jason?
Longest reigning Raw Women's Champion.
Longest reigning Raw Women's Champion.
Yeah, so she's already set the record. Time for her to drop it.
So if she drops it, what's next for Becky?
Ronda Rousey at SummerSlam. Doesn't even need to be for the belt.
Apparently vacation.
Tag belts.
The tag with who?
I think either Charlotte or Flip It and Ronda.
See, now that
That could be
Damn,
That would be
and
interesting.
I'm agreeing with Jason. There must be something in the water today.
there must be. I'm
You
choking
guys
on my
mix
own
the water with the hand sanitizer again.
The end of August. See, the last. It's
Third
usually
week of August. I couldn't tell you honestly what date it is.
I could Google it.
It'll be sometime between now and September.
Yeah, exactly. But Matt, if you think about it, you have June, and I emphasize June, July, August.
August 23rd.
Think what Matt knows what I'm getting at, and let's talk about Impact.
Ooh. Okay, yeah, that's a good plan too.
We'll get to that. Hang tight. All right, we'll get to that when we do Impact News. We'll come back to that, so don't forget, Scott. We'll come back to. All right. So everybody here on the panel is picking Baszler. You got Baszler?
Yeah, I got Baszler.
Baszler. You got Baszler.
Baszler.
Baszler. I think it's time, but they have to do something with Baszler's. I don't say character, because the biting thing, like the vampire, did not go over really well, but she was a monster in the Elimination Chamber and what she did there.
She was a monster in NXT. If they just do what she did in NXT, then she'll be.
That again, let's just see how it pans out, because then who will be her next opponent? Is this when we see Nia Jax come back?
I think she's going to eat through a lot of people.
So
before
that's
she
what I'm
has a
saying.
legitimate
So
contender.
that's what I'm saying. Is this where Nia Jax comes back now and will be her main feud? At that point, we'll just have to see how things shake out for that.
I think Nia Jax might be brought back as a threat to her, but she's going to be fed to her, and Baszler's going to eat. Because I think Baszler, once she wins that, she's going to hold that belt until at least, I'm going to say, either Hell in a Cell Survivor Series, October, November.
Ryan caught on to the Impact insinuation in the chat room, so we'll see what happens there. Next match. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Rhea Ripley and Charlotte. That's for the NXT title, is it not?
It is.
All right, let's talk about that. Matt, let's start with you on this one.
I say Rhea Ripley retains her belt mainly because they're trying to get her over and they want to make the NXT belt a prominent thing to make it a third brand, as they keep saying.
Right.
So her going over Charlotte in the biggest show of them all will do that.
All right, Johnny?
I'm actually really on the fence about this one because I say Rhea for the same reasons Matt just said.
Mm-hmm.
But I also say Charlotte because if they are trying to add prominence to that belt, having Charlotte Flair hold it again.
She's already won it, though.
I know, but it wasn't what it was now.
Gotcha.
It's not what it was now. That's the
And neither was
problem.
Charlotte.
And neither was Charlotte.
then was not what she is now prominently.
True.
But I understand what Johnny is.
If they're trying to build the prestige of that belt, I feel like having Charlotte plus, also with NXT being a third brand, having a main event headliner like Charlotte Flair move down or laterally move. I think it's going to be the first NXT move that doesn't feel like a demotion, but a lateral move.
What about Finn Balor?
Finn's in NXT UK right now. He's scheduled to face Walter. So Finn is just floating around like Flotsam and Jetsam.
But he's still part of that NXT brand.
He
whether it's UK or
is,
here.
but the company as a whole, mainly Vince, clearly has a lot more faith in Charlotte Flair than he does in my boy Finn Balor.
Scott, your thoughts on that match?
Once again, Johnny in his Freudian slip, I consider it a AAA product, and it's a breeding ground. But if they are going to try to make it a third brand, Charlotte, time's not on her side. She's got to beat Daddy's record. So, hey, put a belt on her, adds to that number.
I don't know. It will add to the number. I'm just not sure. Because if that's the case, she already wore that belt. Why is that not being counted in her total of titles then now? She's already worn that belt. No one's counting it now.
Yeah.
So to me, her winning it in NXT, number one, in my opinion, means nothing in her count. Number two, if she wins that NXT belt, what does that do for her with the main roster standing? Granted, there's a lot of talent in NXT, but if we're talking Ronda coming back and now you've got Baszler potentially if she gets the belt, I don't know. I think Charlotte will be missed on the on the main level rosters, and I don't know. I think in a way I understand the push of NXT trying to make it a third brand. NXT will never be recognized as a third brand, in my opinion. They could push it down our throats like they did with Roman Reigns a few years back. It will not be accepted as a third brand. People are enjoying it, no question. It's a sip because Triple H is running that one, and it's a much better product in the end than what we're seeing on the main roster. But to me, I can't see Charlotte having any value to holding the belt. What?
I say on that one.
Jason, there you go.
We've already had it where Charlotte was the very first grand champion. Don't count the women's tag. She was the grand champion, but then they're making it where Bayley is the grand champion because she had the tag belt. That's not fair to Charlotte.
Right.
Because she was the original Grand Slam champion of all the belts of WWE.
There you go.
True.
And you know Vince can rewrite history any way he wants. Obviously, Pat Patterson won the fictitious match. And, during some time, Chris Benoit was never a champion.
Whoa, are you telling me that Pat Patterson never won a tournament in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil?
Were you there?
No, but I had a friend of mine who was there.
Did Stevie Wonder see it? Let me ask you this, Scott. Did Stevie Wonder see it?
Exactly.
Right. By the way, you bring up Chris Benoit. I don't mean to digress, and I don't think it's on the list. Dark Side of the Ring.
It was so good. I finally watched it.
Again, tip of the cap to these guys. Last year, season 1 was terrific. This week, I think it aired last night. I haven't watched it yet, but of course, this is now New Jack. Great expose on all of these stories. But man, that story last week with Benoit and stuff was just off the charts.
I personally sent Jericho a tweet.
Yeah, he was great in
Apparently,
that.
he was one of the driving forces to put that whole thing together.
Sure, especially at the end when
yeah.
it brought David Benoit with Nancy's sister back together. All right, next match. All right, so let's go to The Fiend and John Cena. Why? Now, when I read about this match, there was talk that they were going to do part of it as The Fiend, part of it as Bray Wyatt. It was going to be, some of it in the Firefly Funhouse. Some of it was going to be in I don't know. It was going to be a mix mash of everything. That aside, Scott, who wins this match?
Character going there. They need to continue it. John is riding off into the sunset. He's got his movies. He's got his career there. Just enjoy it and move on like The Rock did.
Right on. Matt.
I see The Fiend winning. I don't see a point for John Cena to win. I agree with Scott. He's going to do movies and everything else, so he's going to come back, put people over.
Johnny?
I picked The Fiend, but there's something I would like to see happen after this.
Okay.
So, The Fiend...
After the match?
After, it going forward in the future. So you know how... The Fiend, when he beats somebody, he kind of sends them back to their old ways. Like
Right.
Finn Balor's now basically Prince Devitt again.
Right.
Daniel Bryan,
Right.
is American
Clean
Dragon.
shaven,
Clean
right.
shaven American
Right.
Dragon again. I want John Cena to lose, and I want the Doctor of Thugonomics to come back.
Well,
that was
that
the
would
best
be-
version of Cena to me.
That would be great. Of course, last year he did make an appearance in the ring with Elias as the Doctor of Thugonomics.
But I want it to be a full-time
No, I get
thing.
it. I get it. But he won't. They can't do that with his movies and stuff. There's no value in that happening. I mean, they could do it to bring him back as maybe a few promos.
That's just it. Have him do a few promos, cut a few freestyles, come out to the original Word Life.
I would say the only value to that would be if it's going to help get the Fiend over more and recast his character on a higher level, then I would agree with that. Otherwise, to bring that character back out, unless Cena's going to come back for a decent time with some sort of run for a handful of months, 6 months, whatever it is, then I agree. I think it would be a great thing, funny thing to see. Thomas brings up in the chat room, the Owen Hart episode is one that he's looking forward to, as am I. And he's also picking John Cena to win. Did you give
I
your...
heard on another podcast that's going to be the season finale.
What is Owen?
Owen Hart. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
they got about 12.
Last night.
They got about 12.
Or,
They got about 12 or 14 of them slated for this year. So for this season, 702-660-7666. Give us a call.
I wonder if they'll do the plane ride from hell.
That
would be an awesome episode.
Next topic. All right. Next match, rather. All right, let's talk about this. Undertaker, AJ Styles. We kind of touched on it a little bit with the promo stuff. Boneyard match. It would seem to be a match that would be right in the wheelhouse of quote-unquote The Undertaker, Mark Calloway. But gentlemen, your thoughts. Matt, let's start with you.
The Undertaker never really wins like his matches, and it is AJ, so I'm picking AJ.
Okay.
I gotta agree. The streak is dead. Undertaker doesn't win his matches.
Okay.
AJ picked the battlefield. I think AJ's got this.
Now, though, along with what you just said, though, that The Undertaker doesn't win his matches, in the past, though, he's named those matches, those steps, right?
Like casket matches or anything to deal with like the Undertaker's kind of gimmick, he always loses them.
But he picks those stipulations. This time, AJ Styles
True.
did, so maybe a little something different. Scott, your thought on that match?
I think AJ takes this. Since no one's going to be watching anyway, it won't add to the Undertaker's record. And I wouldn't be surprised if, depending on how they film this, if the Fiend might have something to do with this as a resurrection and start a feud with AJ Styles, because you got to set up a next feud for him.
Right on. That's a great point. Maybe we'll see the Fiend pop up somewhere. Next match. Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins. Gentlemen, Scott?
I take Seth, the Messiah, but because you can't have both him and Becky lose to ride off in the sunset. But the Messiah character is going off pretty well. He could take a break. Owens, I've never been an Owens fan. He has some good moves for a big guy, but other than that, he's plain Jane.
I think he does great with the mic, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Matt, your thoughts on that match?
I'm kind of leaning towards Kevin Owens, but just because of the way the promo went on Monday, that like he never does anything at WrestleMania, so I can see him getting a WrestleMania like moment. But Seth Rollins always outdoes everybody at WrestleMania, so kind of still leaning towards Seth Rollins.
Do we see his Messiah brothers getting involved with this? And by the way, I want to go back to The Undertaker. He even told AJ to bring out, what's their names? The
Michelle
brothers.
McCool?
The brothers. Right.
Gallows and Anderson.
Thank you,
yeah.
Anderson and Gallows. But so you're picking AJ.
For
I'm
Seth
sorry.
Rollins.
I mean Seth Rollins. Sorry.
Yes.
She's got AJ. Seth Rollins.
As much as I want to go with my boy Kevin Owens, because I do disagree with Scott on that. I think Kevin Owens is amazing. But I do think Rollins wins, but I think it's because we're going to see a Samoa Joe heel turn. He's not a good babyface. I think Samoa Joe is going to return as a run-in and screw
Okay.
Kevin.
So what about the two guys, though, that the Messiah is going to have with him? Are they going to get
Talking about
involved?
One
Akam
of them's
Razor.
hurt. One of them just had knee surgery. I think it was Razor.
Oh, okay.
Well, he's still got Murphy, who's not your buddy anymore. Not your buddy, guy.
Well, it would be interesting to see if Samoa Joe does make his appearance. Next match. All right. Bayley, Sasha Banks, Lacey Evans, Naomi, Tamina. Who's got your take on that one?
Sasha Banks turns on Bayley for the 9 millionth time, and Sasha Banks walks out your champion.
I know you're just thrilled to say that.
As long as it ain't
I know
Bayley,
he
I
is.
don't care.
Okay. Johnny?
I see Bailey and Sasha kind of taking each other out of the match, and Lacey Evans actually taking it.
Interesting. Scott?
For informational purposes only, I agree with Matt.
All right. Personally, I would actually, in that particular match, I would love to see, where is it? No, not Tamina, not her, Naomi. No, I would agree, Lacey Evans. The turn in her character, really ever since the Saudi Arabia match with Natty, has been complete and really came out of nowhere. Ever since she had that match with Natty overseas, the first woman, yada, 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 she's now gotten out of that heel position and I think has probably been a better babyface sticking up with her daughter, with the stuff with Sasha Banks and all of that up to this point.
Not only that, she's a Marine veteran.
Right, and
she has that all-American girl look.
Yep.
She's blonde. She's everything Vince would want to push. Plus, she's built like a brick house. So, like,
Scarlett who?
she's
never
a
mind.
natural. She's a natural babyface. I don't know why they ever tried to push her as a heel. She's a natural babyface.
Thomas corrects us and says that the guy from the AOP actually has a torn biceps, not a knee.
Oh, okay.
And he's also picking Bayley to win as well in that match. All right, next match. Otis versus Dolph Ziggler. What corner will Mandy Rose be in and will she be involved? Scott?
It's that standard, love interest, carry away, sort of like the Randy Macho Man Savage. Not that it holds a candle to those days,
Right.
But that's what Vince will eat that up.
Okay.
I got to go with Otis, and he's going to get his kiss from Mandy at the end. And Mandy's going to go.
I say Ziggler. Mandy's going to turn on Ziggler, and Otis is going to get his WrestleMania and his life moment.
There you go.
When Mandy lays one on him.
I agree. I agree. Otis gets his just dessert, so to speak, or his just due. King Corbin versus Elias in this match, in my opinion. Who cares? But let's pick a winner for the sake of picking one. Matt.
King Corbin.
Next.
Elias.
Next, Scott.
The referee.
The ref. All right, we'll take that. Aleister Black, Lashley. Again, why? But for the
This
sake
is
of
the most randomly thrown together
absolutely.
thing.
Have they even built this feud?
No.
I've
Lashley
seen
hasn't been on
nothing.
TV in like a month.
I haven't seen anything about it.
Lashley's supposedly sick.
Well,
He
no.
already had coronavirus and got over it, apparently.
Really? Okay. Scott.
And not only that, Lana's been filming a movie, so.
Scott.
I think Rusev has something to do with this. Comes back with his new gimmick. Obviously, for those who've seen the dirt sheets or seen Instagram, clean shaven his head, complete new look. I think he comes back in some way.
There you go. All right. Sami Zayn, Daniel Bryan. Gentlemen,
Once
is this
again,
for the
who cares?
Is this for the title? This is for
It's
the
for
IC
the
title.
Intercontinental title, yeah.
Okay. Sami Zayn, Daniel. I think this could be a good match.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think Daniel Bryan's going to win because talk is he's going to start taking more and more time off moving forward to be with the family, especially since Brie is pregnant with number 2. So in this case, as much as I would love to see Bryan win, I'm a huge Bryan supporter. Me personally, I think Zayn will retain. No intent to rhyme there, especially with his henchman on the outside as well. Gentlemen?
I think Zayn is going to retain simply for the fact that he just got that belt. And we've waited so long for Sami to get any kind of title.
Well,
in the
ask
main
Zack
roster.
Ryder how long you have a title for before you can lose it one day. So timing to win a belt doesn't mean anything, in my opinion. So, yes, you're right. It is fine that he got a title. I get that. Zack Ryder won it and had it for 24 hours before he lost it to The Miz the next
But
night.
he had his WrestleMania moment.
That's okay.
I'm going to say Daniel Bryan because Daniel Bryan got the IC belt at WrestleMania 31 and then had to give it up
Okay.
right after he won it.
All right, that's a fair point. Why it then took him, 9 years to make good for that is another story. But then again, he's had other titles. But
Ask Finn Balor how many Universal title opportunities he's had since he got
exactly,
got back.
Exactly. Did you pick one?
I'm
Sam?
going with Sami Zayn.
Okay. Next match, SmackDown Tag Title match and Women's Tag match are off with The Miz and Asuka not being on the show. So Dana Brooke lost her spot. She's being quarantined and everything. So those matches are no longer being held.
That's the main
So-
reason Roman's not on WrestleMania is because The Miz showed up sick.
So
Right.
I hadn't heard anything about the women's tag match because from what I heard, Kairi Sane wasn't available on Raw
Right.
because she was in Japan getting married.
Gotcha. Okay.
But she was in Florida for the tapings.
Okay. So maybe
So
something.
I think the female tag match is still on.
Okay.
Bliss
Well,
and Cross all day.
Oh
There-
yeah. Oh yeah.
I
Now-
can't stand the Kabuki Warriors.
We'll go back to
together.
Goldberg and his. Now, unofficially, we're hearing Braun Strowman's name coming up in that match. And Thomas brings up a point in the chat room. We go back to the Intercontinental title. The Braun had barely won it when he got the title off of Shinsuke, right?
True.
And then what? 30 days. Well, it's 30 days, whatever it is. Turns around and now he drops it through that cockamamie match that Sammy got it. So. Quick turnarounds are not unheard of course, as we know. So,
For what the rumor is, I don't think Braun's going to mind.
yeah. So, Goldberg versus theoretically potential of Braun Strowman. So you're thinking Strowman?
Strowman, if that's the match, Strowman should win. He should have held that title in like 2017 when he was like white hot.
I agree with that. Johnny?
Strowman.
I think everybody's eager to have the belt come off of Goldberg. Scott?
Well, unless I can disagree with Johnny and I can't, or Matt, Strowman.
Okay. Piper? Strowman? Strowman. All right, so we're across the board the same with Oh wait, Thomas Bliss Cross Applesauce. That's for the tag match.
I want that shirt.
Jeez.
The minute this pandemic is over and I'm working again, that's the first thing I'm buying is that Bliss Cross applesauce shirt.
What I want to know is it crunchy applesauce or smooth applesauce? That's all I want to know.
As long as it comes with cinnamon in it, I'm good.
There you go. All right, real quickly, rumor has it that after WrestleMania 36, WWE, and Scott's been actually mentioning this really throughout tonight's show, long overdue, but because of the lockdown in Florida now and everything that's going on as much as really any place else, WWE should take a break for a short time, whatever, and not even produce empty arena shows. Thoughts, gentlemen? Well, we know what Scott says. Scott agrees with that.
Absolutely. They need to take time off. Well, they're not going to be able to film legally anywhere unless it's like one-on-one with one cameraman.
Right.
Because you throw in 2 cameramen and 2 announcers and a referee, you're over the limit.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, gentlemen, your thoughts on them taking a break?
Well, they've already said they filmed the Raw after WrestleMania
Yep.
and some other more content, so they can take a month off and not really feel the effects of it now.
Okay. Now, I want to go back before we get out of the WWE report, as believe it or not, we're winding down almost the hour. Let's go back to the insinuation that was brought up earlier about some Impact wrestler who was a free agent that maybe could be coming around. Johnny?
Real quick, just to piggyback off of Matt's point, then we'll be done with WrestleMania. I think a hiatus would be a good idea for one reason, because if you look at regular scripted programming, you have a season finale.
Right. And WrestleMania?
WrestleMania is traditionally the end of the wrestling season for WWE.
Right.
So if they ended things at WrestleMania, maybe a little Hail to the Chief, hurrah show afterwards for the Monday After Raw, because the Monday After Raw is always crazy.
Right.
Then a hiatus is warranted. Give it a hiatus then. I could go to bed happy knowing that there's not going to be bad wrestling for the next month and a half.
Unfortunately, there will be no crowd to hijack Raw the next night, as usually happens. So,
Oh my God! Then that's when
Vince's
you
dream
want to
has
put.
come true.
Then we should expect every match to be an upset.
it's true.
I'm
All right,
surprised
let's.
Vince hasn't put like his own like production spin on like cheers and booze. He can finally have the cheers he wants and the booze he wants.
Well, yeah, that's called a laugh track, so to speak. So who knows? It would be kind of tough to have that when no one sees a crowd. But who knows? You don't put anything past the McMahon family. All right. So let's go back to the insinuation about somebody from Impact. Somebody may get involved. Something. So Scott, let's go back to you with your thought. What were you possibly bringing up as a topic of conversation there?
Well, when we're looking at something to break through with the new season, let's say around the July-August timeframe, there's going to be a specific, I won't use her name,
Matt will.
champion.
It's undeniable.
Matt will talk about a different subject of the love of his life
Right.
in that regard. But there's going to be a free agent that's highly regarded in the wrestling business available. Why not throw the money and get a great talent and a great person at the same time?
There you go.
And not only that, I already predicted that I want one of the main events of next year's WrestleMania to be that person versus Charlotte Flair.
Well, then if
So,
that's
Matt-
the case, you can't have her in NXT. Go ahead.
So, Matt, tell me what's going on with Impact?
Yes, get an update on Impact, please.
I just
I'll give
tossed
the
it.
thorough, like very detailed Impact. Tessa Blanchard was on it.
She's still the champ?
Of course.
Nice.
What else is they
All
got?
right, before we get into our AEW and Impact stuff and pop culture, and Mr. Producer, we may end up going over a few minutes. Is that okay? All right. Not that there's a whole lot of programming on after us anyway, so we'll just extend a little bit if that's okay. So
I don't
we can
mind
go
going
through
over.
this. I just want to mention before we go forward here is that WWE has teamed up with Fox Sports to air 22 hours of content WrestleMania week, which will end with Fox Sports' first pay-per-view of WrestleMania 36 for $60 with nobody in attendance. Okay? I, on the other hand,
And a
have paid...
WWE network for $9.99.
I was just going to say, I paid $9.99 and I'm getting it at home 2 nights at $10, and it's well worth it. But on the same token, ESPN has been re-airing as part of their programming past WrestleManias as well. So just check your local listings. I think this past week they did WrestleMania 32, I believe, over this past weekend.
They also did one of the Rumbles, I think.
Yes,
So.
they did that as well. The other thing that ESPN released, and this will be interesting to get your feedback, was the biggest WrestleMania matches of all time. And number one was one that I alluded to in last week's show, gentlemen. Hulk Hogan versus Andre when the torch was passed with the body slam and everything was number 1. Number 2, Stone Cold versus HBK. Number 3, Hulk versus Warrior. Flair versus HBK. Rollins cashing in is number 5. Rousey versus Lynch versus Flair, the triple threat from last year. Undertaker versus Lesnar, and I'm guessing that was when he lost the streak. Hogan versus Rock, which also, by the way, great match. The crowd was so into that. I mean, that was tremendous. If you haven't seen any of these in a while, go to YouTube and look them up. Undertaker versus Triple H in Hell in the Cell. And number 10 was Stone Cold versus The Rock at WrestleMania 17. All great matches over a 35-year history of WrestleMania.
I do believe 2 positions should be specifically swapped.
Okay.
Of all those like crazy WrestleMania moments, could you
Right.
imagine any of those matches in an empty arena?
No.
No.
How about WrestleMania, the first WrestleMania with all the pomp and circumstance with Liberace and Billy Martin and
Cyndi Lauper.
Cyndi Lauper. And my God, first of all, you couldn't do that.
Ali?
Muhammad Ali.
Ali.
Yes, thank you. No, none of these matches could be done today under today's situation with no crowd. Great point. Totally.
Could you
agree with
imagine like that Rock versus Hogan match in an empty arena? The whole half of that match was like crowd related.
that. Absolutely. You can't. You can't pick. Absolutely. I think that's a great point.
I'm sorry, because Stone Cold versus The Rock at WrestleMania 17 to me is top 3 material.
Hogan
That
versus
should not be number
Rock
10.
Should be like number 2.
I would agree. I think that match, Rock and Hogan, should be much higher on
and
those. But again, this is
And Steamboat and
arbitrary.
Savage isn't even on the list.
Yeah.
The gimmick battle royale isn't even on the list.
But does a gimmick battle royale really match up to these one-on-one? The Savage and the Dragon match certainly should be on the list. Now, again, this is arbitrary because this is ESPN putting this list out, and I'm sure not by the greatest wrestling people who know wrestling at ESPN, to say the least. But
I would not have
be that as it
Taker
may.
Triple H Hell in a Cell on there. I would have one of the Shawn Undertaker matches on there.
I think when it was the good versus the evil,
Yeah.
Shawn. I mean, I don't know if that was one of them on here, but Shawn coming out in the white coats and everything.
Or the streak.
Well, I think
Look,
that was
that-
it
that's
says-
on there.
Yeah, it says Undertaker and Lesnar.
Yeah,
End of Shawn Michaels' streak against Taker.
that's
Oh.
right. Yes.
That's on WrestleMania 26.
There you
Yeah.
go.
I think the only reason the Hell in a Cell, the Triple H one, is on there is because what happened after the match with the end of an era thing.
Yeah. Oh, they all walked out coming
Yeah.
up the ramp.
And
Yeah.
like Rollins cashing in, that wasn't even the match.
Well, it was part of the match, though. So
Yeah.
it's that's the Money in the Bank thing. You have to, but it was still a moment.
I think that belongs on a list of greatest WrestleMania moments, not greatest
Okay.
WrestleMania matches.
That's true. The match was really between Reigns and
match
And it was
was
kind of a
good,
poop.
but-
It was kind of a poopy match.
Scott.
That match was awesome.
Scott, your thoughts
You
on
just say
any,
that because you saw it live.
Scott, your thought on any of those matches or something missing?
Something's missing. When Fox is offering a pay-per-view for $59.99, have they actually said that the WrestleMania is going to be on the network?
Yeah,
And
they've
if they-
had
Yeah.
Are you sure? Because it wouldn't put it past Vince and Fox to us all to be sitting there on Saturday and get color bars and say, log on to WWE.com and pay $59.99.
The post that I reshared the snapshot of the schedule of the 2 days and the times in that article, it did say that you can still get it off the network. I see your
you can
point.
get it for free for 30.
I think if
30
they
new
didn't put it on the
subscribers.
network, it would be this year of all years. It'd be a slap in the face. If they
Plus-
want to do that next year, that's when there's not a pandemic and not an empty arena show. That's fine.
Plus, you can still sign up and get the free month on the network anyway and still have WrestleMania included in your package. All right, we got to move on. Next topic. Let's go to AEW and some Impact news. Let's go to AEW about Excalibur.
This is the most random. Like everyone, like AEW does so much good stuff, and then they do something weird like this. They announced like someone joining a faction on Instagram. Excalibur apparently joined the Death Triangle, and now they're the Death Square. Like, why would an announcer randomly join your faction of like probably 3 of the best people in the company?
And it just means Taz is going to join the Elite.
I just
Back to the NWO days with WCW when Eric Bischoff was their head announcer. I mean, obviously, Cody was sitting in the back room watching all this stuff, and he just, I mean, if you watched AEW tonight, I'm sorry, I can't watch it anymore. I'm tired of seeing Cody Rhodes take over the microphone, take over. I know he owns the company, but you don't have to be Vern Gagne anymore. You don't need the belts. You don't need to be the star. Let the other characters have some play.
Without
That's a
him,
great
Matt
point.
Hardy or Chris Jericho, what do they got?
Absolutely. Moxley.
Kenny Omega,
True.
Yeah.
the best bout machine.
There you go. All right, so how about this one? AEW is going to start filming from a secret location because the area in Jacksonville is now a major testing center for the coronavirus, and they don't want fans to approach the talent.
Let's just be honest. It's because marks are being marks. They know where they're going to be every week, and they're showing up in droves to get autographs.
Well, unless I'm mistaken, Jacksonville's in Florida, and they're going to have a Florida rule the same as WWE.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Good point. AEW announces a TNT title tournament. First two matches, Cody versus Shawn Spears and Darby Allin versus Sammy Guevara. TNT, are we not kissing up to our network here is really the important part here. That's all I mean.
It's basically a TV title.
Yeah, it's basically a TV title. Yep. Scott?
Have they unveiled the belt yet?
I didn't see the belt. Obviously, it was airing a little bit while we were broadcasting, so I had NXT on one eye, and the other eye had AEW. And
If you tell me about a third eye was watching something else.
Exactly.
We'll pass that one up. So
If that title is like a big TNT logo,
probably.
it better not.
All I know is I'm just really looking forward to NXT tonight.
Would you rather
That triple threat?
Would you would you rather have it have Ted Turner's face on it? Come on.
Speaking of
Eric
NXT, I just
Bischoff.
want to see what like a certain person on the screen last week did. I just want to see when he comes out in person.
There you go.
You think it'll be this week?
No.
Nah. After Mania is when everybody.
Scott, I said I wanted no spoilers, man.
Oh, I thought you meant Darby Allin. Sorry.
Scott, speaking of belts, have you been able to notice here on the desk what I have in front of us here?
Yeah, and as soon as that red light comes on, I'm pretty sure you need to take that and get the hell out of Dodge.
Well, I'm retiring it right away. I've told Johnny that it's not up for grabs. I'm retiring as my own champ.
Damn, I was going to roll you up after the show. I thought it was 24/7 rules.
You don't have enough sanitizer to roll me up
You are
for
gonna
anything,
be
dude.
There's a bottle right in front of you.
You still don't have enough sanitizer to roll me
You are
up.
going to be one of these marks that has to go to a wrestling show with a belt
No.
that you can't defend.
Not at all. No, my belts will never travel. This is purely for branding only, which, by the way, I wish, do we have a Zoom camera? I don't know if you can move the camera onto the one across from me here, Mr. Producer.
Yeah, make sure it's on the belt, not on his knee.
No, it is on the belt. Mr. Producer, can you give me the camera right there? We go. Scott, can you
Turn it
see?
around.
No. I'm purposely. No. I'm purposely not showing the front yet. Scott, can you see this plate right here? What it says? All right,
There's a glare.
it says thoughts count anywhere. It is specific branding for the show, and then it has my character on the side plates. But I've got thoughts count anywhere on here
Oh, that's cool. I didn't even know.
to brand our show, gentlemen. This is not just I'm not being selfish for me.
Sports collectibles.
First of all, like I said about Johnny, you ain't got enough hand sanitizer to roll me up, sir.
If it has thoughts count anywhere on it, I'm going to bring the grinder and we're going to cut it into 4 separate pieces.
The Freebirds rule may apply here, though. I'll tell you that much. So, all right, we have a couple of minutes left. Let's go to pop culture. Thank you, Thomas. At least Thomas appreciates my belt. Thank you, Thomas. I appreciate that.
That belt is cool.
It is a nice belt.
Okay, Tiger King. We were talking about this before we went on the air. I got to ask this, Scott. Do you know what this Tiger King phenomena is?
Like I told you, I saw Lion King the other night. It was a great musical. I have no idea. I have not watched it. I'll pass.
Watch the
faults of
preview
the
and just give me your thoughts, because it is like the whole world is talking about coronavirus, and Netflix is like, hold my beer, watch this.
Exactly.
Nobody. That is like the craziest, funniest,
It's
scratch your head.
It's so
oh my
unintentionally
god show
funny.
like I have ever seen.
It's unintentionally funny too.
Why do we care about a real story about people with tiger farms?
Oh, but there's a
Why does
murder.
America care about like the Kardashians?
But there's also missing people who may have been fed to the tigers or not. There's
so
a
now
murder,
we have a murder
There's
mystery.
a murder for
There's like
hire
a murder
plot.
for hire. I'm
Just
going to
put
marry
him-
a
just-
guy for meth.
Just put the friggin' Tigers down. That's all I
And
gotta say.
it's like if Siegfried and Roy were combined into one
no,
person
no,
and were
no.
from Florida
No.
and not Germany.
No.
That's a perfect explanation.
Thank you.
And I agree with Matt. Everybody's watching this show like the Kardashians, and none of them ever had any talent whatsoever except Kim. We saw the movie.
You know, that kind of ranks right up there with Chrisley Knows Best.
Yes.
Who the hell is this guy? He's a real estate mogul from Atlanta. What gives him the right? Who cares about what his family's going through?
He's
to
just
have a show?
effeminate and high strung, and people
No,
want to
no,
put
no.
a camera in
But
front of
this
him.
guy's a real estate guy. How did he get a show? Why aren't we on a show? On a radio? You know what I'm saying? Chrisley Knows.
Because
this
we're
is the
not
same
going
thing.
to jail like he is right now.
That's true.
That's true.
What was it, tax evasion or something not too long
It's
ago?
about to be Chrisley Knows Prison.
And he's going to do so well in prison.
Chrisley Knows Soap. That's about all I'll say.
Don't drop it.
Okay, right, exactly. Don't drive. Okay, talk about hand sanitizer. Money Heist. Who wants to talk about Money Heist? I have no idea what you're alluding to there.
I've only seen the first season.
Oh, so it's another TV series?
It's a Netflix show.
That
Oh,
show
no,
is
Netflix.
awesome. I've had many conversations with a certain wrestler we've been talking about this show.
Suck up.
Right?
Hell yeah.
You're just saying
Guilty
this.
as charged.
You're just saying this because she might be watching, huh?
No, I might tag her in this episode, though.
There you go. We got to put her name in the search engine, in the SEO keywords. Absolutely.
Be like, at blah, blah, blah.
But
We're
it is
talking
such
about
a
Money
good-
Heist.
It's a super good show, though. It's like a show from Mexico, so they like dub the English words that
I can't
sometimes
stand watching
don't
shows
match.
with that.
But it is such a good show, you don't even realize.
I can't stand watching shows with subtitles because I'm busy reading the subtitles. and
There's
you
no
miss the frickin'
subtitles,
scene.
but like you can tell they're speaking Spanish, but
Oh,
like
so
the
like the old
words are
Godzilla
in
movies?
English.
It's like the old Godzilla
You
movies.
can barely tell though, but it's such a good show that I'll be binge watching the hell out of it Friday.
Scott, are you binge watching anything while you're at home?
I am. Just for background noise as I'm, working on eBay and the website and
Right.
things like that. I have MASH on, good.
Yeah, yeah.
Korean War.
Today they ran some episodes since it is April 1st and not really anybody's complying with April Fool's Day, but they ran on the WGN channel the best of MASH episodes with jokes in them. So it was a fun series of shows to watch. I was watching them on the WGN, but I was binge watching. I'm down to like the last 20 episodes, and I don't want to do it because I don't want to get to the final episode, which I saw when it went live, and I cried at the end of MASH.
That was a pretty
Everybody-
heavy episode. So basically, what you're saying is they did a marathon today of what Father Mulcahy would call jocularity.
Yes, exactly.
Just
exactly.
jocularity.
That's right. Exactly. Go ahead.
Disney Channel and watch Mandalorian.
Yes,
You
I
know what,
agree.
Sir.
Actually, Disney Channel right now, for those that don't know, actually have like a week's free. You can sign on and watch anything. And the other night, my daughter signed us up, and I forgot. What did we watch? We watched. She wanted to watch the Lorax, but we quickly got off of that.
Is that even Disney?
Yeah, well, it's Dr. Seuss, but
I thought that was Universal though.
no, the original one.
Oh, okay.
The original one. Star Trek Picard. Oh, Star Trek Picard is on the Disney Channel?
No, you're
It's on
thinking of
CBS All
CBS All
Access.
Access. They're giving a free month. I was
that.
I was
Gotcha.
going to bring that up because I'm a huge Star Trek.
But Disney Plus, though, Scott, is running a free week for anybody at this point who wants to watch and access them for stuff too. Oh, yeah,
and
sure.
like Disney Plus is great. I just watched Frozen 2 earlier today.
There you go. That's
Hold on, you're making fun of Grey's Anatomy.
right, and you're watching Frozen.
too?
Okay, thank
My
you.
roommate
How
has
many kids were in that room?
2. Thank you.
Your
And he's
man
watching
card
the
has
Golden
been
Girls
revoked.
marathon.
No, it's been shredded.
It's what?
Shredded.
Your
Shredded.
man
yeah.
card has been revoked. You can get it back from McSteamy.
I hear Aaron has McSteamy's number though.
I do. It's 1-800-BITE ME. But anyway,
The champ's still here.
that champ is still there.
That's
And-
only 6 letters or 6 numbers.
Well, you can dial 00 or you can find the numbers that correlate to FU if you'd like. Okay?
Just let
Anyway.
it go, Johnny. Just let it
Absolutely.
go.
All right, with that, Scott, give a plug for Power Play website and final thoughts as we wrap up.
Once again, if you're looking for a gift and can't get out, obviously none of us can get out shopping. You can go to our website, powerplaysportscards.com. We have an online store with all our merchandise there. We ship that day. So within 2 or 3 days, depending on where you're at in the country, you'll get it locally probably the next day. Pop culture, I just want to say, with nothing really going on in the world except us having to deal with this horrific tragedy, thank you to all our first responders and anyone pulling duty right now, any which way, shape, or form. God bless you.
Well said, Scott. The only time really that we're going to be serious here is towards the end, and we thank you for your message out to all first responders who are dealing with this. So, Matt, let's go to you, please. Final thoughts as we get ready to sign off.
I kind of want to put the same thing out there as Scott, as I work security downtown, so I deal with a lot with like Metro and ambulance drivers and fire department and all that. I just want to thank all them for all they do, and all the nurses and doctors. I know a lot of them that they're working like 80 hours a week, putting their lives on the line of what's all going on. So just thoughts and prayers with everybody. Everybody stay safe.
Johnny.
My heart goes out to all the service industry people that are currently out of work like this. All my fellow bartenders, DJs, band members, entertainers, casino workers that are not getting paid in this interim. I'm feeling you too. So
Right on. Aaron, please bring the mic up for Jason. Go ahead, sir.
Same thing as Matt said. All the first responders, all the nurses, heart out to them. They're the reason why a lot of people are staying safe and why they are getting the help that they're getting. So all hats off to them.
Right on. Thank you, Jason. We come to you on these airwaves once a week to bring you what we feel are some fun stories in the wrestling world and give you our opinions. And, we do it because we're fans of the sport and we want to share our thoughts with you and we want to have fun. And if nothing else, one of the things that we're committed to try to continue doing, and that is to bring you, the viewer, a little bit of a distraction from all that stuff that's going on. And we hope we collectively here at Thoughts Count Anywhere are hoping we're achieving that. The nice thing is if you miss us live, you just have to go back to our website, Facebook page, any of the 12 million sites we're on for podcasts courtesy of Matt. Go live. We're out there for you to enjoy. Bottom line is this, is we want to be there as a little bit of a safe haven as Go Live Vegas continues to produce some of the shows that are on the network here. However, in all seriousness, be smart about what you're going to do. Be smart when you go outside. Be smart if you're going to do the social distancing. If you notice, we may not have 6 feet between us. We're at about 5.5. Scott, he's doing his thing at home where he's comfortable. Bottom line is this, be safe, be smart. And now that schools here in the state of Nevada are close to even April 30th, we have to be more focused on making certain our students of the future, whatever we can do to support our students at home, please take the time to read to them, do a simple math with them, get them prepared for the next step. We are all here to support each other. Be smart. If you want to wear a mask when you go out, do so. If you're comfortable wearing gloves, do so. If you want to go out for a walk, still work out, do it within the confines of your home, outside, but be smart. And again, as everybody here has said, we tip our caps to everybody who is servicing those in need because of the illness, or in this case, as Johnny suggested, as is myself, I'm a member of the Clark County School District who is earning no revenue right now because as a substitute, no school, no work, but I'm still out there doing what I can to support my kids that I work with. Be supportive of each other. If a neighbor needs something, ask them. Please make sure you support each other and thank everybody that you can for supporting each other and first responders. Now that I've had an opportunity to get off my soapbox, we want to thank everybody for watching out in the chat room. We will be here next week in some form or another to talk about post-WrestleMania and the outcomes and some of the craziness that's going on. So stay tuned to our Facebook page as we continue to post our shows and stay active here as best that we can to entertain you, whether you're a wrestling fan or not, a little bit of a distraction of what's going on in this crazy world. For all of my partners here, for Scott, who's at home, comfortable, looking really sharp there with the hat and the headset and that little Wizard of Oz curtain behind him. We like that. For Johnny, for Matt, for Scott Piper, we love you too. And of course, for Aaron here, still making things live and happen for us here at Go Live Vegas. Please have a safe week. We want to see each and every one of you back here watching Thoughts Count Anywhere next week. For all of us, have a great week, everybody, from Thoughts Count Anywhere. We'll see you next week right here.